So if you've watched maybe more than 3 UFC cards, you'd likely know by now that Joe Rogan is a jiu-jitsu nut. Even if you've watched Joe Rogan's podcast, you know he is a full-fledged jiu-jitsu nut. He loves ground game, and every time the fans boo, two opponents crotch-hugging each other, Joe Rogan goes on to say, "Why are they booing? They're such casuals. This is MMA. Blah 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 blah." And I get where he's coming from, but MMA is a mixture of the fighting styles. So if we got a fight that's fully on the ground every single round for every single minute, it's not ideal. You know, every fight starts on the feet, so you're gonna want to have some fighting on the feet mixed in there. And Joe Rogan obviously would likely disagree. He doesn't mind if two guys go at it for 5 rounds, 5 minutes a round of just plain and simple jujitsu, grappling, near submissions, and little to no striking. Joe Rogan would love that. He would be on the edge of his seat, just like he would be for a fight where it's two heavy hitters going into violent exchanges for 5 rounds without the fight going on, to the ground for a second. And I disagree. I think the referees should stand up fighters. This is Joe Rogan. If you haven't read the post by now, this is Joe Rogan saying that the MMA referees should not stand up fighters. If the fight has been on the ground for way too long, the ref should not stand them back up. And I disagree. I think there is a moment, or there are moments in fights that call for the ref standing up fighters or getting fighters back to striking, getting fighters back to striking formation. And it's because fights can tend to get to points where it becomes too boring. The UFC is a business. MMA, the world of MMA, or at least the professional world, is a business. You want to sell tickets, and in order to sell tickets, you want the fights to be entertaining. And most UFC fans, sad truth for Joe Rogan, want to see striking. They don't want to see a full fight of grappling only. Okay, if they wanted that, they could go to the UFC's BJJ league, because they got one now. The UFC has a BJJ fight organization where Mikey Musumeci is, I think, the king of that right now. So they can go over there, flip the channel, and watch that. But mainstream UFC fans, they want to see knockouts. They want to see striking. And in order to get that happening, the ref has to stand fighters up. So, although I have huge respect for Joe Rogan, I don't agree with this take. The ref should be able to stand fighters up. Same thing when fighters get in the clinch for too long against the cage. The same thing can happen. Fans start to boo, the fight gets boring, and the ref has to break it up. So yes, I believe the ref obviously has a right to break fighters up and get them back into fighting formation. Overall, though, let me know what you think.